To me, it might feel a bit anachronistic in a few years' time to still have digital agencies. Won't they just be agencies? Will we at some point see standalone digital agencies come to an end, do you think?
Because a lot of people sometimes think that, oh, the digital agencies will go away and the traditional agencies will rule. Maybe the digital agencies will become the traditional agencies. So who knows?
So Publicis could become the traditional department.
Yes, right, because our basic belief is, and saying nothing about, I'm not calling amnesia this, but our belief is that the future comes from the slime and not the heavens, which is, if you think about stuff, it's people who iterate and constantly are close to the work. We actually believe, and one of the reasons why Publicis has spent, and in our industry, which is not so capital intensive, these are very large sums of money. In some industries, they may not be. But over the course of the last 3 years, Publicis has spent over $2 billion acquiring digital expertise. We already had a lot of digital expertise, but we've spent $2 billion between Digitas and Moxie and Razorfish and Performix, which are just 4 brands, which is a lot of money in our nature side of the business. And the reason we've done it is less about digital and analog, but it's about expertise. We recognize that we need to have experts. We need to be trained by experts. On the other hand, the reason that these companies have agreed to work with us or join our family is they recognize that we're going into this post-digital world, and there are billions of dollars that we happen to allocate that they can now help allocate.
You talk about us now being in a post-digital world. What do you mean by that?
There's generations of people who have grown up where they have seamlessly integrated the digital lifestyle into the way they live. So when we may have grown up and said, look, we're using a computer, look, we're using a digital technology, now it's like, hey, this is second nature. And so sometimes it's hard to separate between analog and digital. We just are living in this post-digital world where we've incorporated into our life.
For brands who are trying to understand consumers and changing consumer habits, is it the technology that is driving that?
I often use an example of, let's say, a smartphone today. And many of the smartphones, but let's just use a popular one, which is like the iPhone. If I were to describe to you what an iPhone did 5, 6 years ago, before an iPhone came out, that year was a device with which you could take photographs, you could talk to anybody you wanted, listen to music, navigate things around with a map and a whole bunch of stuff, and do that for less than $200-300. You would have said anybody who happens to have that in their pocket has godlike power. And that is what has happened, is it has enabled people to do a lot of different things. So technology clearly has enabled people to do a whole bunch of things. But what they do is what they've always really wanted to do, which is find ways to get ahead in the world, find ways to save time, find ways to connect with friends, find ways to be creative. And so what is more important than understanding the technology is understanding what people would like to do and how the technology will allow them to do it versus just focusing on the technology.
Within the group of agencies that you work with, they come at things with different skills and different expertise. How do you actually get them all to work together in the interests of the client?
I think there are 2 things. The first, which is very important, which we are aware of, is if we do not work together in the interests of the client will find other people. So that is, I would say, the negative way of making people actually work together. The positive way, which is what we actually do, but we are always reminded of the negative way, is that the client has new opportunities and challenges. We, therefore, are helping solve them, do that. Our underlying model is simply that clients want ideas simply and efficiently delivered. So we want to make sure that we can deliver ideas, that we can work easily together, so it's not a dramatic soap opera having our companies work together, or with outside partners, it doesn't have to be our partners, that we work with best-of-breed internal things and processes that allow us to do things fast and cost-effectively because clients want that. But very importantly, that we actually can walk the talk.